In quick revision, today we are going to see important MCQs in respiratory system. The lungs are covered by a two-layer membrane called pleura, diaphragm, pericardium and capsule. The lungs are covered by, that is the covering membrane of the lungs is called as pleura. So you have a pair of lungs. This pleura is the covering membrane of the lung. It is a single membrane which folds twice to form two layers. Okay, one is attached to the ribs and the other is attached to the lungs. Okay, this is called as visceral pleura and this is parietal pleura. The function of the pleural membrane is to protect and give cushioning effect to the lungs because lungs are soft tissue. Diaphragm, this is the muscle which separates the abdominal cavity and the thoracic cavity. Okay. So pericardium, this is the covering of the heart and capsule is the covering. Second question, of the four parts of respiration, the part where oxygen and carbon dioxide are exchanged in the capillaries lining the alveoli in the lung is called pulmonary ventilation, internal respiration, external respiration and transport of respiratory gases. They were asked about the exchange of gas between the alveoli and the capillaries. So in pulmonary ventilation you have inhalation and exhalation, that is flowing of air into the lungs is called inhalation and flowing of air from the lungs to the atmosphere is called exhalation. So this is called as pulmonary ventilation. Next step is external respiration, that is once the air reaches the alveoli, level of alveoli, there is exchange between the alveoli and the capillaries. This is called as external respiration. Now there is transport of respiratory gases. From here the blood carries the oxygen to all parts of the body. So transport of respiratory gases is the third step. And fourth is the internal respiration. It means there is gaseous exchange between the blood vessels and the tissues. So internal respiration means there is exchange of gaseous, that is carbon dioxide and oxygen exchange takes place between the blood and the tissues at the tissue level. This one is between the alveoli and the capillaries, blood vessels. Alveoli and capillaries. Next, third question is the organs of the conducting zone of the respiratory system include all of the following except. Here conducting zone is important. The organs of the conducting zone of the respiratory system include all of the following except nose, trachea, bronchi and alveoli. So what is the meaning of conducting zone? The zone which conducts air or which allows the air to pass through. We have trachea here, lungs. Okay. So from the nose air enters and flows inside the lungs. So till the level of alveoli, air flows, where the air flows is called as conducting zone. Almost trachea, bronchi and alveoli. Alveoli is the part where the gaseous exchange takes place. The organs except alveoli will come under the conducting zone. Okay, so nose, trachea, bronchi will come under conducting zone and alveoli will come under the respiratory zone. The organs of the respiratory zone of the respiratory system include all of the following except trachea, small bronchioles, alveolar ducts and alveoli. Except trachea because this comes under conducting zone. In respiratory zone means where the actual gaseous exchange takes place, that is oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange take place. It takes place at the level of respiratory bronchioles, alveolar ducts and alveoli. All these three comes under respiratory zone. Other than these three, all parts of the respiratory system will come under conducting zone, that is the passage of air, flow of air. Fifth question, maximum amount of oxygen is transported in humans by red blood corpuscles, white blood corpuscles, blood platelets and blood plasma. It is conducted by red blood corpuscles. Oxygen binds with hemoglobin and it is transported to various parts of the body. How much pulmonary air is expired normally? 70%, 20%, 25%, 32%. That is how much of air from the lungs is let out normally. Expired means it which comes out of the lungs. Leaving out of the lungs under normal condition, it is about 32%. Rate of breathing is controlled by amount of oxygen available, functional demand of the body, carbon dioxide level in the blood and all of the above. Rate of breathing is carbon dioxide level in the blood. Alveoli becomes enlarged and damaged with reduced surface area in heavy smokers. The condition is called as silicosis, emphysema, asthma, bronchitis. The correct choice is emphysema. So the alveoli, what happens due to chronic smoking, the alveoli becomes enlarged and they get damaged. So when the number of alveoli decreases, there will be reduction in the surface area, that is the breathing surface area will be reduced. This condition is called as emphysema. Dead space is upper respiratory tract, nasal chambers, alveolar space and lower respiratory tract. Dead space is upper respiratory tract. Amount of air that is inhaled, that is it is taken in but it does not take part in the gaseous exchange process is called dead space. Usually the dead space is the amount of air that is present in the conducting zone. Okay, amount of air that is inhaled but not used for gaseous exchange. Gases diffuse over the respiratory surface because of oxygen is more in alveoli than in blood, carbon dioxide is more in alveoli than in blood, oxygen is more in blood than in tissues, and partial pressure of carbon dioxide is more in blood than in tissues. So how does the gas diffuse over the respiratory surface, that is alveoli and blood capillaries? Okay, so now the alveoli contains higher amount of oxygen. Okay, from the outside atmosphere air flows inside which contains higher concentration of oxygen, whereas in the blood due to metabolic activities there will be higher concentration of carbon dioxide but lower concentration of oxygen. So what happens here, the oxygen level is low, here the oxygen level is high. So in normal diffusion what happens, the gas will move from higher concentration to lower concentration. So simple diffusion takes place here, that in the alveoli the PO2 level is 104 mmHg. Okay, here it is 104 mmHg and in the blood it is 40 mmHg. Partial pressure of oxygen in the alveoli is 104 and here in the blood it is 40 blood vessels. So due to simple diffusion, alveoli, the oxygen from the alveoli diffuses to the blood. So oxygen, first choice is the correct answer. Oxygen is more in alveoli than in the blood. Carbon dioxide content in arterial blood is the correct choice. When there is increase in level of carbon dioxide in the arterial blood, there are chemoreceptors in our body, in the blood vessels, which detect the increased level of carbon dioxide and it sends message to brain and it increases the breathing rate. Okay, and the carbon dioxide level in the body will be maintained. Volume of air breathed in and out during effortless respiration is A. Residual volume, B. Vital volume, C. Tidal volume and D. Normal volume. The volume of air that is breathed in, amount of air that is taken in and which is left out during effortless respiration is that is effortless means under normal condition. If a person is doing exercise like running, then the condition will be different. This is under normal condition, the volume of air that is taken in and that is breathed out during effortless respiration is called tidal volume. This is 0.5 liters or 500 ml. 0.5 liters or 500 ml.